Hello and welcome to the episode 5 of Scrum Master and Product Owner Career Series. My name is Anand Pandey and I'm the host of this series. In this series, it is intended to bring aspiring and experienced Scrum Masters and Product Owners to prepare for their next career progression. And every series, we get some practitioners who share their insights straight from the trenches on how they have helped others, how they have helped themselves in their career leap. You can register for upcoming events or view the recording of the past events from our website, targetagility.com/events. Today, we have got Mohit Budhiraja as a seasoned Scrum Master and Project Manager with a passion for Agile delivery service improvement. He brings with him over 12 years of experience in software development, application servers, and cloud platforms, which enables him to understand and support the technical aspects of the projects as well. His goal is to empower and enable teams to deliver high quality and innovative solutions that meet the needs and the expectations of the client. Mohit has been interviewing Scrum Masters for quite some time, and he's willing to share some insights on what does it take to interview a Scrum Master and what is he looking from a Scrum Master candidate during the interview process. I invite Mohit to share his insights. Mohit, thanks for being here and taking your time out to share your experience as an interviewer of Scrum Master.
Thank you, Anand, for a very brief introduction. And hello, everyone. So I'm gonna give you some tips and tricks. Like usually as an interviewer, what I usually try to assess on interview. And also I would give some tips as well, like in past I've followed, and this will help upcoming or budding or experienced seasoned Scrum Masters. So first of all, there is very clear cut rule. There is no right and wrong. Okay. There are many scenario based questions being asked. There is no right and wrong. Under different situation and circumstances, we as a Scrum Master, we apply because we bring our experience and we try to correlate, and under that situation, we try to, adjust that situation. It may work, it may not work. Okay. But if I give my experience, I would say you have to collate all your experience. You have to build a very storyline about your experience, and whatever experience, whether a development, testing, and everything, you need to fit that experience in your Scrum Master, because some or the other way it will help you, basically. So if I would say how I start assessing interview is, my first and foremost question is why have you chosen a Scrum Master role? Like, it's a servant leader. It's you are serving your team before you're serving yourself. So Scrum Master, actually, it's a role which is not directly involved. Even it's like you are involved with team, but actual work is done by team. Okay, you are a guardian to the team, but you are supporting them. Okay, so you are actually somehow serving the team. So why do you choose a Scrum Master role? Was it by accident or you choose voluntarily? So that's the first and foremost question which I usually ask with anyone who is giving the interview. So what I'm trying to assess by asking this question is whether they know what actually a Scrum Master role play. Okay, whether they are playing a role, because Scrum Master role has very many things which he usually do in day-to-day activities. For example, he's a problem solver. He also a person who is process oriented person. So whether are you aware of these aspects or not, whether you are helping in problem solving, whether you are bringing an innovation, whether you are bringing some building a team morale, because building a team morale is one problem which I see on day-to-day activities. Is not very easy to bring all the resource upfront and they interact together to have one vision, that is sprint goal. So this is first thing which I try to assess in an interviewee. Answers can be, I've seen many answers, like by accident I was chosen as a Scrum Master. But I wanted to be a Scrum Master because I fit for this role. So these are some of the answers which I've seen, but I think you should have a proper storyline for this. Why are you working as a Scrum Master? What are you trying? What value you're giving actually to team? So this is very, very important aspect, which I try to, ask people. It's a very general question. Even I've seen people are not very confident answering this question, but you should definitely prepare about it.
Yeah, we should know the reason why we want to become a Scrum Master. And that reason should resonate with the core value of a person. And everyone has a different value. Everyone could have a different answer for it. That's a great way to start, Mohit.
Right.
And Mohit, generally Scrum Masters have to deal with lots of changes, lots of uncertainties, right? And we as interviewers try to see whether how much are they equipped to take uncertainty. So what kind of question do you ask, checking their change management understanding? And
So
what kind of response do they provide? Sorry, what kind of response do they provide?
So, first of all, we need to know about 12 agile principles and 4 values, which is very important. And any framework, whether Scrum, Kanban, or any other framework, they are based on these principles only. So, welcoming change is very, very important. It is the second principle, which says welcoming change in requirement, even late in development. Agile process harness changes for customer competitive advantages. So, there are many situations when changes can occur. For example, during the sprint and after sprint planning, there is some scope creep which happens. There are some additional changes, additional requirement which comes during the sprint. Okay, so what I usually try to check with them is how do you handle the significant change in mid sprint without disrupting the team focus and commitment, because team is in a very good flow. Okay, they like let's imagine it's a 2 week sprint. Okay, which is mostly commonly used in industry standard. But in we are in a situation, let's suppose start of the sprint, the change scope creep happens, we can still manage it. But let's suppose we are about to end, only 2 or 3 days left before the sprint get wind up. How do you handle the situation? Like, how do you handle the scope creep? Because team is quite focused. So under that situation, I try to understand what did you do. Have you encountered this situation in past? If yes, how did you manage it? How did you handle the team? Because team would definitely won't agree to do at this point of time. So this such questions I try to ask questions and try to understand what under this situation, because this is a situation where when you are in stress, when you are pressurized, delivery is important, and even client, you cannot say no to client. Okay, first and foremost rule in IT industry. So you have to handle this situation. So how do you handle it? Okay, some says, like some answers I've seen, we try to check with team first. We because in a scrum everything is transparent, right? So we have our dashboards, we are matrices, we see where team lies, whether we can deprioritize any particular user story, whether any person has a bandwidth to pick this thing, or whether in Kanban approach, what I think we have some implicit rule where we move all the item in on hold and involve everyone to focus on this task, because this may be priority for client. So I just try to assess and understand what under this situation, what did that person do. So that's a way how you handle a change, whether he's aware of the change management in agile or scrum or not. So that's what I try to assess.
That might be a bouncer for many of the Scrum Masters, right? Because this is actually putting them on a pressure, not just in the real world, but also during the interview itself. How are they dealing with such pressure?
Right.
Great. Uh, Mohit, people talk about metrics a lot. And whenever I do an interview, the default answer people provide me is a burn up chart, burn down chart. And that really disappoints me. What has been your experience around metrics, and what kind of question do you ask?
So basically, mattress, I try to ask like why. I just first ask like what type of mattress they use. Okay. Very simple answer, like as you're saying, is burn up chart, burn down chart, or velocity. But then I try to ask why they are using this matrix. Okay, because they need to know ultimately the value, because matrix is not something we use a matrix which is used in industry, but actually what is behind in background that we are using such matrices. Like velocity is something which is type of leading matrix. We can predict, we can forecast. Similarly, burn down chart is something we know that, like, we it's also another tool which is used for leading. It's a leading type of matrix which can predict the future of forecasting. Similarly, spillover is something, defect density for quality. So there are different types of matrices. But why I try to ask why behind this matrix is being used, why they have not used the other matrices, like why they have not used cycle time, why they have not used lead time. So such questions I try to ask them to assess whether they actually understand the value of this matrices being used.
And what is the general answer you get in the
So,
interviews?
so general answer I get is velocity is something which is industry standard, which I feel is a very common answer, which is not actually correct. Leading and lagging is something which is something, if a scrum master know about it, the purpose of leading matters, the purpose of lagging matters. Maybe there are other types of matters like output matrix, outcome matrix, activity matrix. What is the purpose behind it? What I try to get, some of the scrum masters are aware of this, why they are using such matters, because they had such situations, they had such problems. So that's why under that situation they use this matrix. For example, one of the metrics I've seen is velocity commitment, or in Jira we call it velocity comparison. Exact name I'm not able to recall. Whatever velocity they committed, story points they committed, and what they have delivered. Okay, so this matters. Why this matrix is being used is whether they are able to fulfill what percent of sprint goal they are able to achieve, whether it's 100%, 80%, 70%. If not, we can try to assess what is the problem, whether the story point they have committed or the stories they have committed is more or less. We can try to gather. So that's what I try to get answers from the scrum masters.
So you mean people should know whatever metrics they're picking up, what is the rationale behind? What is the goal that they're trying to achieve? And do
Correct.
not just blindly follow because it's an industry standard or just because your peers or the companies are following. You should know the reason behind it. And you
Exactly.
should also know the different kind of metrics as well.
Yes.
All right. Talking about metrics, velocity, how can we skip that? And what kind of question will you ask about velocity?
So this is one of my favorite question, because I try to sometimes what I've seen in interview is people are trying to move into Scrum Master role. They are from testing background, they are from development background, and they want to move into a Scrum Master role because they feel that they can do it and it's very easy and it's a cakewalk for them. But actually, it's not. You need to have an experience. So my first and favorite question is, what is your current team velocity? Okay, people, it's very simple question. You're playing a role of a scrum master, you should be aware of your current velocity which team has, and people are not able to answer this question. They flabber while answering this question.
Oh,
So you should be well prepared. What is your current velocity? And even last few sprints, what was the trend? Basically, I try to get that. Sorry, just to know that they're not faking it out. My next question is, if a customer approached you with a request to enhance your team for velocity, like increasing the velocity, how would you handle this situation? Because this is very common. Okay, your leaders, your sorry, your client will try to ask to increase the velocity, but handling increasing the velocity is not a cakewalk. You need to know the rationale behind it, why the customer is trying to ask, or why my leadership asking to increase the velocity. If you know the rationale behind it, then only you'll think logically. See, there is a problem, we can increase the velocity this way. Maybe I know there is a problem that maybe this resource is not able to deliver one situation I'm giving, and if I train that person, or maybe maybe a situation where the user stories which we are picking might be that we can more split that user story and break it further and take more user stories, or there could be different n number of situations. But but I don't get relevant answers like how they do increase the velocity, because some scrum masters have seen that they are asking the resource to do overtime for increasing the velocity or work on weekends, which is totally wrong according to me. And even I've seen that the resources, they also say some answers like they ask resources to work on weekends in order to deliver more, which is again not a good thing. Once in a blue moon it's fine, but it cannot happen repeatedly, because it will definitely reduce the team morale. So according to me, we need to find a bottleneck, like how, how can we increase, whether that resource needed training. We also need to check at whether we are at beginning of the sprint, like whether we are at beginning of first few sprints, like 3 sprints, 4 sprints, or now team is mature enough, they have already really worked on 10 sprints, and now it's high time to improve the performance. So you need to know the rationale. You also need to know what is the current situation, what is the team performance, how they are doing it, how many bugs, what is the defect density. So there would be n number of factors. Based on that only we can increase the velocity. So it cannot happen in a day or two. It will take time. It will take months to increase the velocity by time.
Hmm. So again, same
Another
as the previous question, people need to know why behind velocity. Don't just follow velocity. You need to know the reason behind why you're putting velocity. And you also need to know what's the team's velocity for the last few sprints, right? That's a good thought. And how can you improve velocity? Because improving velocity is not just a cakewalk. It involves lots of changes, lots of passion, lots of areas to be shaped. And yeah, budding Scrum Masters, experienced Scrum Masters, they should all be aspiring toward that journey. Uh, and I've seen many Scrum Masters who are so much obsessed with Scrum that developers hate them. Now, how do you check that they are making a thin balance between being Scrum obsessed as well as still balancing the customer satisfaction and the delivery?
I think there is there is a saying, doing agile versus being agile. It's like a debate which is a long non ending debate, which you might have seen already. So see, there are different types. I would say it's a type of anti-pattern of a Scrum Master. I think I am not remembering. There is one research paper in Scrum.org, 8 traits of anti-pattern of a Scrum Master. So one of them is Scrum Police, which you are talking about, which they are quite process-oriented Scrum Master. Okay, they blindly follow what is written in the Scrum Guide. But Scrum Guide doesn't say that we need to blindly follow it. Scrum believes in empiricism, okay, experimenting. What fits best for the team, we can experiment and we can inspect and adapt accordingly. So in order to handle such Scrum Masters, I've seen that in my past experience as well. When I worked as a developer, they were quite process oriented, and they were challenging on each and every aspect, like you need to follow this need to be this.
You
I mean,
hate that.
yes, developers, as a developer, I used to hate that Scrum Master. So in order to handle that, I think best way what would be, we can come together, retrospect. We can in our retrospect meeting as a developer, or maybe if we are having retrospect with multiple Scrum Masters, let's suppose in a scaled agile framework, there I can put as a point, like like this is something which is not correct, team is not liking. We can discuss more, and we can suggest more in that call. And I think that Scrum Master should realize down the line what's the issue, because when team is raising, then definitely there is an issue, and definitely there is a dissatisfaction. But I think when we coach, when an another Scrum Master coach, or maybe an Agile coach, or when all team together discuss, and I think they definitely there would be a fruitful discussion on this, according to me. But what I've seen in interview, that Scrum Masters, they don't have experience in such situation. One scenario I've seen, one of the candidate answered this, that he doesn't have experience handling such, because he was not knowing the answer. I got it, because I tried to also check with that person, what would you do in such a situation,
Hypothetical scenario.
hypothetical scenario. So I couldn't get a proper answer. in that. As I said in the beginning, there is no right and wrong. It's all you have to experiment, inspect, and then adapt, basically. So, according to me, what I will do in this situation is, as I said, if we are having a situation of scrum, then maybe I can put this point and discuss. If let's suppose a one scrum team is there, then as a team together, I think we will discuss this in retrospect, and we'll put this point. And then if I'm doing I'm doing this process oriented person, then I think I'll try to inspect. I'll definitely, when team is challenging, then definitely there's an issue. So I'll try to inspect myself and then try to adapt what change I can do, because ultimately my aim is to bring a value among team. If team is not satisfied or dissatisfied, then I need to address them.
Great point, Mohit, you have brought. And that's what I always tell everyone: don't be a walking Scrum guide. We are here to deliver software, make customer satisfaction, not necessarily be complying to all the rules of Scrum at the expense of delivering the working software. And I teach in my PSM1 class also, right? If there's one thing that you can take from Scrum, that is transparency, inspection, adaptation. Uh, what about technical excellence? Like Scrum Masters happen to be so much process focused. Developers are onto the technical side, and I've met many Scrum Masters who feel that, hey, they don't know understand technology, so shall they be part of, or are they sounding very out of the team? So, what is your view? How much Scrum Master should be technically equipped, and how do you check whether they are technically equipped?
So first of all, I mean, it's not necessary, according to me, you being a technical person, but I would say if you're a technical person, it will definitely give you an add-on advantage. Why? Because one of the main traits of a scrum master is a problem solver. Okay, if you are a technical person, you with your experience you will understand the technical problem, and some or the other way, at least you can give a way or path that, hey, this could be the problem, this you maybe this I can give a direction, basically, that you can solve this way. So according to me, it's not necessary, but yes, I do try to check, because it definitely gives an add-on advantage. So usually what I try to check is, how do you foster a technical excellence as a scrum master, or and a good design principle within the agile team, and what practice do you advocate for achieving it? Or maybe a scenario is like, let's suppose I give one scenario. Okay, we are doing an estimation, planning, we are playing a planning poker. Okay, there are two developers. One developer is giving a 5 story point on that story, and another developer is giving 2 story point. Okay, when they both give their justifications, again we don't have a conclusion. If I'm a technical person, I can pitch in and I can guide them, and I can come and I can supervise, I can help, give a direction. See, this is something which you're not thinking, this is something which you're not thinking. Okay, you should think in this direction. Okay, like for example, technically, like there is a story for database. Okay, now database, we there is something related to indexing which we need to develop. Okay, the first developer is not aware of the indexing thing, the second developer is aware of it. Okay, but the first developer, who doesn't have an experience, he's continuously arguing. But I can pitch in and tell the advantage of being having an indexing. It will speed up the process of retrieval. The DML statement which will run, it will be very fast if we have an indexing. So we should definitely, include it, have an index run already. So this is just an example which I try to give. So I try to assess in this situation which I gave on in terms of estimation. When there's an argument, there is no conclusion, what actually you does during that situation. So some says that they try to involve a senior technical person, like technical architect, so that, because he know complete architecture of that system, and he can supervise and guide them. If I am there, then I can support, I can contribute my points, and I can do some SWOT analysis. See, this is strength, this is weakness, this is opportunity, or this is, or maybe I can try to use some techniques like 5 technique. I can try using my technical skill set. So there could be different problem solving techniques, and my technical expertise together, I try to bring and solve the problem, which I just try to assess that under this situation, what you will do basically. You have some technical background, whether you'll support, because what I've seen that Scrum Master do not jump in because they don't want to jump into any technical things. They think that they are just a Scrum Master, but actually it's not the case. You are a person who should be a problem solver and try to give value as much as you can give for the team.
And it helps them also to grow, right? And it will not at least make them feel very uncomfortable in a conversation. What am I doing over here when there's a technical conversation? And you may gain some respect from the developers.
No,
Yeah.
I'll tell you another situation. What I have seen is, the developers have more trust for a Scrum Master because he's a technical person. He understands the technical challenges, right? So that developer comes to me. I've seen that they comes to me and they share their problem. See, this is the problem, and this story might get delayed. you know and me as a Scrum Master, I can handle the situation. I can involve any other technical lead. I can give that direction. So I think these are the situation which gives an add-on advantage as a technical Scrum Master. But again, it's not a mandatory thing, what I would say.
Nice to have, right? Yeah, if you get an opportunity, at least when you're in a Rome, be a Roman, right? Understand their language.
Correct, right.
Uh, what about Agile Coach? Because many times people who are Scrum Master, they call themselves as an Agile Coach, or Agile Coach call themselves as Scrum Master. What is your view? How do you differentiate that with your interview question?
See, first of all, Agile Coach is a term which actually was not existent until last few years. But now this has been, to differentiate the salary, to differentiate the number of years of experience, this Agile Coach term or a designation have been introduced in industry. There is, to be very frank, there is no difference between a senior Scrum Master and an Agile Coach. Both are doing the same thing. They are problem solver. They try to train or coach a team about the Scrum. The only difference what I feel about Agile Coach is Agile Coach might be aware of different frameworks apart from Scrum. Maybe he has an experience of Kanban. Maybe he's an experience of extreme programming. Maybe experience of safe, scaled agile, less Nexus or Spotify or anything. So he know under different situation what type of problem he face in that framework, and he can help and pitch in and solve. While a Scrum Master might not have experience in different frameworks or maybe a different situation, while Agile Coach might have a different experience of handling the problem or coaching different teams or different clients. I do try to check with team what do they understand between an Agile Coach and Scrum Master. They, you know, they are actually very. It's a very confusing term, to be very frank. Like, I don't get a satisfactory answer about this because they feel that Agile Coach is something they are doing very different than a senior Scrum Master role. But actually, they are doing the same thing. A Scrum Master, if we go through the Scrum guide, Scrum Master is a part of team. He coaches Scrum team, also coaches product owner. Also at organization level, Scrum Master contributes. Agile Coach does the same thing. Okay, but like in industry, how we are using Agile Coaches, like maybe one Agile Coach is there for multiple Scrum teams who actually do a kind of governance of the Scrum framework, the process, or maybe other framework which we do, and maybe under different problems which a team is facing or maybe a Scrum Master is facing, that Agile Coach can come and pitch in and solve that either a team problem or maybe a Scrum Master problem. So that's the difference what I feel is the difference. But in I don't see a proper answer for this because people are confused between the two roles, what they are playing right now.
That's a very interesting take, Mohit, on Agile Coach and a Scrum Master. And that might be opening lots of can of worms, right? Because people do have different opinions. There is no black and white difference between what's a Scrum Master and Agile Coach.
Correct.
Mohit, I've got just last question for you. And this is my question that I ask is we have to continuously learn. Right. And different people have got different ways to learn. If we stop learning, we will be redundant. How do you assess whether this person is actually investing onto continuous learning?
So what I'll tell you, uh, I am actually, I'll tell you what I do usually. Uh, it's not basically an inspection, but what I do is I organize a session dedicatedly for my team, a knowledge sharing session weekly or bi-weekly, basically. And what I do is, and I ask, we allot dates. Like, this date you will prepare something. It's up to you, whatever you want to prepare. So ultimately, the aim is you prepare something, you learn something, and you deliver. So this way, you're doing two benefits you're getting. One is self learning, and the second is you are whatever you're learning, you are passing on to others, and others are learning.
Teaching is the
Like,
best way to learn.
yes, but I do try to check during interviews. How do you, you know, uh, like what to say? Like Agile emphasize on continuous learning. So how do you encourage a culture of learning and adaptation within team, ensuring ongoing improvement? So, as I said, this is my way. What I do, I like it's a weekly or weekly. Maybe I'll discuss with team that this is what I want to do, whether they are okay for weekly or whether they were okay for weekly or whether they are okay for monthly ones. That's also fine, because I know they are busy with their daily activities. But I think team engagement is important and team learning is important. So this is my way, but I do try to check with the interviewee what is their thought process. How do they do it? You know. Uh, one of the very good answer I got was there was one situation where a particular developer, he was doing cherry picking while picking the stories when the sprint planning happened. Okay, and he used to pick very simple stories. Okay, initially this was ignored, but when it went to sprint 3 or sprint 4, I think other developers had some issues. They started complaining that this developer is actually picking very easy task and finishes, and he's free. So in what when I talked to that person one to one, he had no answers. He was voluntarily doing because he want to pick. He don't want to learn new things. He just want to pick the easy one and just finish up the work. That's what he want to do. But I said that, see, this can be done once in a blue moon, but cannot done down the line, because this is some of the other way it will trigger you down the line. Maybe after 7 or 8, let's suppose a senior developer, he went on leave and this difficult story comes to you, what you will do in that case? He had no answers. So gradually, I think he started picking. I saw the change, but it was not instant. After having multiple one-to-one sessions, only I saw a change in him, because I also had to appreciate him as well. That, see, you are doing your work very perfectly, and on-time delivery is very good. But I think now you should focus on taking up challenging stuff and also focus on learning new things. Okay, so this was one answer I got, which was really nice to see. I think there could be different situations. We need to motivate our team members to have a continuous learning. Uh, I'm also doing right now one more thing is like knowledge sharing session, which we planned. My team doesn't have a time. Basically, they are quite occupied since last few spring. So what I've done is I'm spending extra time. I'm learning new things, and I'm actually conducting the knowledge sharing sessions. Like for example, AI is something which is booming right now. So I am learning and I'm trying to sharing the knowledge sharing session on AI, and it is something they are learning new, and it is somehow I see the morale is still maintained of continuous learning. So I think you need to think how you can innovate the way of continuous learning among, you need to motivate, basically, I would say, the team members.
Lead by example, right,
Lead by
Mohit?
example. Correct.
And the previous example that you talked about, an interviewee, it was like a perfect case of being able to coach the team on why should they be investing on continuous improvement.
Correct. Right.
Wow. Because this is a question which generally gives me an idea whether this person is taking time out to invest on themselves.
Right.
Awesome, Mohit. Really great insights that you have shared as an interviewer. And I'm sure this will be really helping lots of interviewees who are preparing for a Scrum Master interview. They must be having a lot of takeaway from here. Thanks a lot for taking your time to share the insights. Friends who are watching this recording will be available within a week. I try my best. And you can access this from the same link, targetagility.com/events. And I wish everyone the best of luck for their career progression. And Mohit, any advice that you would like to give to people who are preparing for the job interview?
I think I would give one advice is prepare well and have a story behind it. Like even I think prepare in this way that you document everything. Okay. Uh, I would have shown something, but I think right now it's not handy. What how I prepare is I create a table. Okay. There are different aspects of Scrum. We know. Okay. We know there are Scrum events. We know there are different roles in Scrum. So when you document it in Excel or maybe document in any format, you have a story behind it. Okay. And when you prepare that way, think of it like under this situation, like this role is there, like this PO is from client side. So what type of questions can be asked like related to it? Okay, just visualize that and try to answer it. This way you will prepare very well, and there would be no questions. I bet you there would be no questions which you won't be able to answer it. So I think prepare well, have a story behind it, and I think you'll do wonders.
That's a wonderful tip, Mohit, right? Kind of a mind map of all the questions that is possible.
Correct.
And we're also doing the same. In targetagility.com, we have got a community forum where every week I try to post one interview question, and I encourage everyone to provide an answer. And I do provide review and provide my inputs as well. And by the end of the week, I provide my answer. So that I hope will be helping the aspiring Scrum Masters and product owners to prepare for their job interview. So with that, friends, looking forward to have you in the next event we have got next coming the next Thursday. And do consider Target Agility as your learning partner as you're aspiring toward your next career. And with that, we sign off. Mohit and everyone, have a great rest of your week.
Thank
Take
you,
care,
Anand, for
friends.
invitation, and have a great evening, everyone. Thank you.